Okay. Good evening, everyone. We're going to call the meeting to order of the Zoning Board of Appeals for this date of August 1st, 2022. I'll explain to you how the procedure is. We'll call your case. We'll ask that you come up, please state your name and restate your request to the board, identify your hardship and the reason for your request. Remember, your hardship cannot be financial in nature and it runs with the land. The board will then ask you questions, after which you will sit down and we will give others who are present a chance to speak. Then you will also be given the opportunity to answer any questions and sum up your request. The meeting is recorded, so we ask that you do state your name. The board will then go into business session and we will discuss and make a decision. There are 5 voting members on the board and it takes 4 positive votes to be granted a variance. So we have Jessica, Laura, John, Cynthia, and I think Becky, you'll seat for this one.
You want me to be seated? If I can't be at the next meeting, wouldn't you rather have Richard?
Okay. Well, I was thinking if it was your last one that you would,
That's fine with me. I'm fine.
because
Yeah.
since if it's your last one, so
Yeah, that's it.
I guess, well, since Richard's here,
Yes,
then
he could, yes, if it got continued for some reason.
Exactly.
Okay, fine.
does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Lynn, will you take roll call?
Sure. Laura Edmonds,
Present?
John Mahoney,
Present.
Jessica Cardone,
Present.
Cynthia Dole,
Present.
Becky Walsh,
Present?
Richard Caratu,
Present.
Chrissy Bonner,
Present. And with
and Luke Toshchian is absent.
Okay, and we'd like to welcome Christy Bonner, who is our new member. So thank you,
Thank you.
Christy. Okay,
Just up to the desk.
yes, thank you.
Thank you all so much for your time. My name is Christopher McLean. I, along with my wife, own the property at 23 Dan's Highway. As set forth more fully in the materials that we submitted for your consideration, we're seeking a variance to increase the square footage of our existing garage by 460 square feet. This expansion will increase the size of our garage from 1.5 stories to 2. The space that will be expanded, which is the second level of the garage, is currently being used for storage. The house itself does not have a finished basement or an attic. And so the space above the garage is really the only storage space on the property. And at this point, with a family of 5, it's gotten to be quite small. And, we'd like to expand it to accommodate the needs of our family. Moreover, currently the only way to access the storage space is through a rather rickety ladder, and expanding this structure will allow us to build a permanent stairway to access the storage space. A variance was required in this instance because, among other things, the garage is currently set back only 16 feet from Dan's Highway. The garage was built as part of the home in 1936 in accordance with the regulations that were in effect at that time. However, under the current regulations, a variance is needed in order to build this addition. So by keeping the building where it is, rather than building elsewhere, we will not have to increase the footprint of the structure and intrude on other areas of the property. The architect for this project is Veronica Ventreschi, and she's here in case you all have any questions. We're happy to answer any questions you have about the application and very much appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Could I, this is John Mahoney. Could I just clear up a thing or two on the survey that was provided? It says that the proposed building height is 14.1. On the document that was just handed out, of which I'll share it with everybody. It looks like it's saying that the height, the building height is gonna be 19.5. Could we clarify that?
Yes, sure. Probably you mean in the survey
Yes,
is from 14?
yes, it says it's 14.1.
Okay. Probably he got designation here of the garage at some point, but the plans that I bring to you with the elevations is the numbers that we have there.
Okay, so so 19 is the correct number.
Yeah, from the average grade.
Okay,
You have that. Yeah, I put all the numbers. As you can see, we have the existing, here we have the proposal, we have evaluation. The difference between the existing and the proposal will be 2 feet and 6 inches.
I just want to clarify, is it 2 variances that are being requested? One to maintain essentially the setback and one to go from the 1.5 to the 2-story and then the height differential there?
Yes,
That-
to keeping
okay.
the same, yeah.
But a coverage variance is not being sought.
and could I also clarify, I know you said the square footage is going up, but again, the survey is suggesting that the coverage is not changing. Is that correct?
No, we are not changing anything.
Okay,
So you're building within the existing footprint?
Exactly, in the exterior walls.
Exterior walls. And it's been suggested potentially, could this go in another place on the property where you would not need a variance? Can we talk that through a little bit?
Sure, I suppose I can answer that. Currently, again, I'm not an architect or a landscape architect, but it seems like it would be difficult to build a structure someplace on the yard with access to the driveway without significantly expanding the driveway itself, which would probably require
I understand.
paving over a good bit of the existing landscaping,
Uh-huh.
which is I think a great part of our house, and that would be an unfortunate outcome, I think. And in looking at the materials that I think you provided to Veronica, I saw that there was one potential site that was marked on the image. That's really the only sort of flat area on the whole property where my kids can run around and play. Otherwise, it's basically built up on a hill. So I think putting a garage in that space would have a negative impact on the landscape and our use of the property.
Another point, it is so far from the entrance. So the first point, if we locate in that area. We just leave the bags. The first point that we can access is the master bedroom.
All of that is convenience points. This is Jessica Carden for the record.
Okay.
It has to be something, a condition with the land for us to consider and approve a variance. That's the legal requirement. It's not necessarily convenience or access or even loss of landscape. So, I think things that were flagged in the planner's memo was, maybe there might be a septic issue or complication there. The grade that you pointed out, those are the types of things that are natural and inherent with the property that we can look to as to what might be a hardship running that's particular to your lot that would allow us to consider the need for the variance. So if you have any more call outs about the property itself, the grade is obviously one that would be, if there's no flat area, something we've pointed to the one flat area. If there's a complication there that would make that not suitable, that underscores the flat area, then that would be something we'd want to consider.
Sure, I actually don't know where the septic field ends. I know it's generally in that location. I just don't know if it extends all the way to the flat part of the yard.
Well, probably would, that probably would be a reserve area, which you potentially need in order to, should that one, that fail, that's how it works. You need more area potentially.
So this is Becky Walsh. Is the purpose of this second floor, it's been suggested it's going to be used for storage? And yet your diagrams here look like it's going to be a classroom or a studio, and it's going to have a half bath and a sink and.
Yeah, well, it's going to be both. I think my wife's long-term vision for it is that. But we're at a point now where I think it will be used as storage, at least for the foreseeable future. I think that's primarily what the requirement for additional space is going to be used for.
Since you don't have a basement or attic or anything else, that's the only area.
And you couldn't go, it's Becky Walsh again, you couldn't go above the pool house?
I have not thought about that, honestly.
That's a long walk between the bathroom.
Yes, but I think that speaks to convenience, which I don't think, from a legal perspective, is something that can be considered here. I don't know that we've ever looked at plans for that. I don't know why that wouldn't be feasible, other than it would.
I mean, I don't even know if the footings for the pool house would support that, but I'm
I
just
don't
kind of
know
throwing
either.
it out there.
I don't know either.
Well, but you would still need a variance because the pool house is, if you were
Oh,
making any alterations, it's in the setback.
It's
as
still in the
well.
setback, yeah.
Depending upon how big an addition you were doing.
Mhm.
right?
But also, as you can see, it's gonna be only 2 feet and 6 inches. Is not a huge difference between the existing garage that we have nowadays. We have the street line, we have a lot of bushes that covers everything. There's other points.
Yes, but the challenge is that it still is a half-story increase. So again, that would be something that would be driven by the hardship. And being able to make use of storage up there isn't necessarily something that you have to have the increase in the story for. Making use in the future for a different purpose might be the desired long-term goal, but that's not necessarily it. The plans right now, as far as converting to a more accessible functional staircase, is that something that could be done without going to a second story?
I certainly don't know. I know that right now, the way to access it is through a space that's pretty small. And I think if you were to expand the staircase, either by width or by depth, that you probably have to cut into more of the actual floor space up there.
Yeah, they start, they have nowadays is everything not for cold. So you need to update. Can even bring stuffs to the attic.
I mean, it's a challenge because you have a 1.5 story frame house. So obviously there's the potential of, expanding off the house. And because you do have a lot of coverage remaining on the lot, within a parcel that is within all setbacks. So again, unless there's some sort of land driven hardship, it's a challenge to, at least from my perspective. With the information provided so far, I feel like there could potentially be some more information provided. Because I was a little unclear coming into the meeting, exactly what was being requested. But that to me is, there seems to be other options on the lot based on the existing structures, but maybe I'm the only one feeling that way. I don't know.
I guess I'm just not clear on what the use of it is, and I know you said it's storage, but it has, there's no electricity up there now?
There is not, though there's just a single light bulb.
Uh-huh,
That's all there is.
I see.
And I
And so
think-
there'll be added, things will be added, like water will be brought there and light. and
Over
everything.
time, yes. I think we're envisioning going at this in stages and expanding it, using it for storage, and then ultimately my wife being able to use it as a workspace for the yard, et cetera. Hence the need for water.
But at no point they are planning to rent or use as a commercial area.
Uh-huh,
It's only for their own use.
right.
Okay.
So it would be heated?
I think ideally, it would be heated.
I mean, I guess the topography, it's kind of built into the side. I mean, when I went there, it's lovely. It's kind of, it is built into the side of the
The hill,
the
yeah.
hill there.
Lynn, could I ask you a question? Could you, because I don't have a copy of your memo in front of me. Um. This is attached, right?
No. Well,
Well, it's attached via the breezeway, so does 1.5 stories apply when it's attached and less than so many feet away?
That is, that's actually a good point. Because it was considered attached. For the previous regulations.
what are you asking?
So then,
Different?
Well, are you, I seem to recall when we've dealt with the accessory structures before, there's a
Yeah.
difference
Yeah.
if it's standalone versus if it's attached.
Right.
And if it's attached, then I'm wondering whether the 1.5 story limitation applies.
Okay.
you're probably actually,
So with the breezeway, is it considered attached?
so yeah, so it would have been considered attached based on the previous regulations. Under the current regulations, it wouldn't be considered attached, but it already was, when you go back and trace when it was built. In the previous regulations, from 32 and 41. It would have been part of, would have been connected to the principal structure. So.
So do they need the variance if it's attached?
Or do they have to bring it into conformity because they're going up?
No, they are building in the setback. They're gonna keep the setback where it is. That is a point I missed when I made the argument. That, oh. Under today's regs, it probably wouldn't be considered attached, but it was already considered attached, so it's legally non-conforming. Already. In its present location, so.
Does that mean it doesn't need either or just one of the variances or?
They were going to. They might not need the second story variance, because if it's part of the existing structure.
Wow.
Is it physically attached by a breezeway?
Mm.
Physically, like with
It is,
a
yeah.
enclosed breezeway, or is it open?
It's an open breezeway.
Yeah, that's a little confusing, but I believe that the only point
So-
here, so is the setback.
So that's where it's like, that's where the problem, if it were an enclosed breezeway, it would. it would be- if Today's regs or enclosed, it would count as a principal structure.
Could we condition granting the setback variance on enclosure of the breezeway to not require the 1/2 to 2-story variance? I don't know what that would add to your costs. That might be something.
I
you
don't know
wanna
either. Yeah,
Explore, you could always continue to next month. but
We
I
could
wanna
explore
see
that.
aligned
No,
with
no,
the
no, that's
chair,
good.
we could explore that.
Sorry, could you clarify the point once again, please?
We could, if you're able to enclose that breezeway, you wouldn't need the 1/2 to 2-story variance. And we could condition granting if the board was so inclined, your setback variance, essentially maintaining it to what it is sort of right now. If you were to enclose the breezeway to avoid needing the other variance for the height.
Okay.
You
The,
may want to explore if that's architecturally feasible,
Mhm,
if the budget allows.
sure, but the breezeway should be just 1 floor, 1 storage or 2 storage.
Could be one or two.
I think one.
but
One.
it could be one or two. If you connect it at 2, it's then a formal connection. It becomes part of the principal structure essentially. Just as-
I guess you could do one if you wanted to do 2, but if you could do 1 to make it.
Understood.
So after that, this, we work by this way, the only point is gonna be the setback.
Theoretically,
I mean, the tough thing that I think the board is struggling with is what's the real hardship here? And the hardship normally runs with the land. You could make an argument, I guess, the topography. It's not that strong an argument, in my opinion. The flip side of it is, to me, you know, where the garage and the structure is logical to the house, and moving it somewhere else just puts a lot of impervious service and costs that seems unnecessary, and there's nobody nearby it that is, unless they're gonna appear on the screen, nobody to object to it. So I mean, it would certainly be easier if we were only having 1 variance, not 2, but
Right.
So would you consider continuing it? Would you like to continue this to explore this a little bit further? And
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense.
any other questions from the board? Chrissy, you have any questions? Rich, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just kind of looking here on the breezeway. You can see, I think,
I have a question. I being others, variance, I would like just to ask. Some they approve, but with conditions, so we don't need to do it once again. For example, we approve the garage with the current setback, but we need to enclose the breezeway. There is one point, this, we could consider this point here as well.
I think, at least from my perspective, I would prefer to see and have you explore with the owners what the options are, because it depends on their budget and the feasibility. And if that's not feasible, and you explore as well, if there are some other continuing land hardships, you might want to come back anyway and talk through the different options with us. So I don't think I would be inclined to do that based on the information presented right now.
I agree with that.
I do too.
the other thing, I think it'd be helpful to get the plans in sync with the survey so that the height line up, so we don't have a conflict between the two, because they'll both go into the record.
Yeah, that's important. Okay, anything else?
I don't think so. Would it be
Okay,
helpful
so-
for me to figure out where the septic field is?
You could consider that a plan B right now, tied
Okay.
to the original presentation, to see if there's some hardships there that you could present in the case, whereas running with the land, making it not feasible to basically. When we have granted variances before where it's sort of building on their setbacks and things, it's because There's literally no other place where you could build, and that's kind of the only option. So
Understood.
it's a pretty tough group.
And also above the, we talked about above the pool house too, maybe, you know. look at
Sure.
That,
Sure.
so,
Yeah,
okay,
for the next meeting, it would just be, this is Rich Carrigy for the record. For the next meeting, it may be helpful just to know whether there is an option to build on top of the pool house, just for the record.
Sure thing.
okay, so we will continue until next month. Right, Lynn?
Correct.
Yes,
Well, yep.
okay,
I'm
Okay.
fine.
thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much for your
Thank you
time.
very
Thanks.
much.
Okay, do we have minutes, approval of the minutes?
Yes,
we-
from July 11th,
What's that?
from July 11th.
From July 11th? Did anyone have a chance to take a look at those? Look through
They
those?
did, they look fine to me.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. Okay,
I
Want me to
move
pull
that
them up
we
for you?
approve the minutes.
Oh,
You wanted a motion, right?
Yes, correct.
I most move that we approve the minutes as written.
all those in favor?
Wait, who's second?
Second.
Second.
Oh, sorry. Cynthia.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye. It's
Aye.
unanimous. Any other matters? Welcome, Christy, and
yes, well,
we have some that, our Becky Walsh is moving. So, but we thank you so much for serving.
It's moving 10 minutes away, but it's in Norwalk, so.
Oh, yeah,
No,
we're losing
But
Becky.
maybe I'll come back to New Haven, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah,
they
So-
don't give you a grace period.
I don't know. I don't think so.
So we want to thank you so much for
Yes,
your
thank you.
service.
It's been a
You've been
pleasure.
It's been a
terrific.
lot of fun.
Yeah, really terrific. And you've been so thoughtful and so prepared always. And we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's anything else, our meeting is adjourned.
bye,
Bye, Rich. Thank you.
bye.